Hi, welcome to Aircraft Restoration's live stream here at Intrepid this week. I'm Kate Good, and this is Peter Taraka, and we will be working on our shuttle Enterprise today. What we're going to do is similar to if you saw us 2 weeks ago. Now we need to clean and dust the other side to prepare for us to open tomorrow. So Peter is going to mainly focus on that side, and I'm going to be here doing mostly this. And I do need to tell you that this is really gross. And I also need to do one more thing. I always told my mom I'd say hi to her from the space shuttle. Didn't mean like this, but hi, Mom. So have that.
And this side appears to be substantially more dusty than the other side.
That is a lie.
I don't know why. But
maybe because the handle's right there.
Away we go. Already seeing a huge difference.
Yeah. Maintenance is not going to like that we're getting their clean floor dirty. So it was at the National Air and Space Museum in DC at Uberhazy. And they had it when they first opened. And now we have Enterprise and they have Discovery. After the shuttle program ended, they got Discovery and they put out almost like a museum competition for who would get Enterprise. And the shuttle was awarded to Intrepid. Which is amazing. And our curator, Eric, did a lot to make that happen. So now we have it. And we've had it since 2012. He's not paying attention. I think since 2012.
Oh, we need one of those NASA-approved leaf blowers back here, I think.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Peter, I think you forgot something.
I had to do that so I could get. As always, being extremely careful.
Hey, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
What's the space shuttle made of?
Oh, Lord. Peter, do you know what the space shuttle is made of?
Aluminum, primarily.
There's a lot that goes into this. There's some specialized foam for heat shield. There's aluminum. There's some titanium. Yeah, it's actually quite a few things. The interesting part about Enterprise is because this was never meant to go to space. It was a testing vehicle. It doesn't have a heat shield because it never had to go up into the atmosphere and come back down like that. So this one does not have that, but it's got most everything else.
Like many aircraft and spacecraft, it all depends on the conditions that a certain part are subjected to. If it's a very high stress area, perhaps aluminum isn't strong enough and we need to look at other metals. Same thing with temperature and vibration and all that. That's stuff that engineers examine. I just get to observe this stuff.
People who know more math than we do.
Probably one of the most exotic materials as part of the structure that I'm witness to is something called beryllium.
Okay, we have another question. Roughly how big is the Enterprise? What's the scale?
A scale.
Well, let's see. I'm 6 feet tall, so that gives you some visual scale right there.
Yeah. I mean, just simply looking at the size with Peter there, the size of the lettering for United States. I'm 5'7", so I'm a little smaller, and I'm also on a hill here. But just looking at the side, like the lettering is with my eyes. So to give an idea of scale, that's a pretty good one. Something that when we got Enterprise, but also when it was being tested, there was a special 747 that this would ride on, and then it would be able to do practice landings and things like that. So if that gives you an idea of a very large 747 that this could actually be on, that's also a decent scale.
It's a workout.
What?
Again, a workout.
I know. And the
Every
lights are
2
really
weeks.
hot.
That's good. A workout every 2 weeks. That'll.
The lights are really hot. Everybody can probably hear us heavy breathing. Who needs the gym when you have a space shuttle?
Hey, Peter, we've got a question for you. Can you describe the process of how the Enterprise arrived at the Intrepid?
Yes, that's a fascinating multi-stage process. Many people were involved. It was first from Smithsonian. It was mounted on the 747, the SCA shuttle carrier aircraft, and flown to John F. Kennedy Airport in New York City. But first, and this was a wonderful gesture, they flew down the Hudson River so that we were able to view it from Intrepid. And then they dropped it off at JFK. JFK happens to be right on the water, so they mounted it onto a barge at JFK, and it's somewhat complicated because leaving the JFK area, they needed to pass underneath a bridge, but with the shuttle standing on its landing gear, it would not clear that bridge. So when it was loaded onto the barge, the landing gear was retracted. And then it went from there, and that journey was, must have been, I wasn't part of it, but it must have been monumentous. Anyway, it went from JFK to a place on Staten Island where the shuttle was lifted off the barge so the landing gear could be lowered and put back on the barge. And that barge with the shuttle on it, and a second barge with a huge crane made their way to Intrepid, parked right next to the ship. And that crane picked it up and put it onto the aircraft carrier. And at that time, there was no the building that we're presently looking at. It wasn't there. It was just big flat flight deck of an aircraft carrier. And for me to be there and witness a shuttle landing on an aircraft carrier, which I don't think will ever happen again, was just awesome.
And they built the facility around the shuttle.
Correct.
Which is unusual in itself.
I don't know if I'm making this better or worse. My booties are picking up half the dust.
Yeah. Were you here, Liam, when the shuttle came?
I didn't. I saw it actually come in from my apartment, but I wasn't here.
Ah,
I think it was like 3 weeks after I started.
aha. Sometimes I forget that I'm essentially panting.
This is why we're rock stars.
Yeah.
Where's my Emmy?
Okay, another question. Other than dusting the Enterprise, what kind of maintenance do you do?
Well, there's actually, I don't think you can see it on the camera, but we're starting to get, just from the air conditioning, from this humidity, people being in here, we're starting to see some more dirt accumulating than normally. And we don't usually come up here to actually clean. It's usually just dusting. But at this point, we made an assessment before we started the live stream today, and we definitely need to come up with some rags and just some soap and water and just work on getting that off. Otherwise, we do go inside the shuttle, not very often, mostly to check up on its condition, to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. And we try to go in there, I don't know, every 3 months, probably quarterly, just to check on everything and look through. Not much usually changes in there since we are the only ones with access. But
Why don't you tell us a bit about what's inside of it?
well, last time I said what was inside of it, I was chastised.
Be careful.
Told that I was boring and sad. But what's in there is the payload bay, where you can see the doors for the payload bay. And what else is in there is the cockpit area. You can see the door lock to get into the cockpit area. You have the engines area as well. But honestly, it's really mostly stripped. There is some wiring, there is some other stuff. But another thing to remember is that Enterprise, once again, wasn't meant to go to space. So there's a lot in here that was more test run than anything else. The cockpit, unfortunately, which makes me really sad, doesn't have seats and stuff like that. But you can really see the panel and kind of where the switches and the buttons and things like that would be, because eventually with Enterprise, they did have piloted missions because they wanted to test landing and coming in and having the gear drop down. So that did at one point in time have a functional cockpit. Payload used to be just weight, essentially. That's another one for the engineers. They figured out what they needed and different things like that. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, for us? We can't. Well, sort of there is, but we can't open it, or we're not supposed to open it. So we actually take a really tall ladder and we go in through the landing gear. There's a space there that we're able to kind of finagle ourselves through. And then on the inside, there's a catwalk that we can walk across. We can check everywhere. To get into the engine bay, it's a very small space. It's about this by probably that. So that one takes a lot of effort to kind of squish in there. We can usually only put one person in there because you need somebody else on the outside for safety. And it's just the kind of thing where that's how, it's not glamorous. We don't get to go through the front door, but it's how we get in there to make sure that we can do our job and take care of it.
The front door to the crew compartment, I have the somewhat famous title, at least in my mind, of being the first to enter the crew compartment when it arrived here. I was with a couple of guys who were visiting from Kennedy Space Center and giving us some familiarization, and they let me. It was the three of us on the Genie on the man lift, and they were both of them were very go ahead, it's all yours, you know. And the front door actually is hinged along the bottom edge and opens out 90 degrees and locks and becomes a platform for anyone who is entering. Yeah, so that was cool.
I was just going to say, who gave you that honor? I thought it would have been Eric.
I think it was pretty, yeah, no.
That's really cool, though.
I think he was out sick.
Wrong day to be sick.
I see a couple of places that would benefit from you or I coming up here with some mild soapy water.
Yeah.
Oh.
Keep having to shake this over here.
All right, we have a question from Kristen. Do you need to borrow or buy special equipment to take care of the shuttle?
For regular maintenance, no. These are dusters that you could just buy at Home Depot or any, like Walmart, anywhere. And the poles as well. When we come up here to do some cleaning another day, we'll have just some mild soapy water and just some cloths and rags to go through and wipe everything and then dry everything. Otherwise, no. I think the only other weird thing is the pool noodles that we put on here that are very, very annoying, but they do wonders when we're cleaning other planes for us to not run into edges and things like that. I'm actually tempted to rip this off now. So, yeah, can you think of anything else we need, use to clean?
Is Kristen an international caller? Where is Kristen calling from?
Did you just say caller on a live stream?
Yeah, I did.
She's on Facebook.
Just curious.
Wait a second. Are we now stalking Kristen? This is like not good, guys. Where are you from, caller?
Yeah. Now, what's your street address? All right.
Did you make this mess on the edge? I really wish they could see what I'm like shaking off of here.
Yeah. This is like dusting 6 of our other aircraft in the collection.
Someone's asking, do you ever work on the heat shield of the Enterprise?
So as I said before, because this was a prototype, essentially, there is no heat shield. This never went into the outer atmosphere. It never had to come down through that kind of stress. So this was really meant for learning payloads, learning how pilots need to use their, oh my goodness, I'm like blanking on words, Kate. How they needed to use their skills from their pilot training to be able to handle a machine this large. And it was really used mostly as a landing, takeoff and landing vehicle. So it's kind of cool to have the prototype. And a weird thing about this is that NASA, the tires on this have been to space, even though the orbiter has not. NASA needed new tires, and it was less expensive to just steal them from this than it was to actually order new ones.
I don't know if you price checked a set of Michelins for this baby, but yeah. Wow.
This is a drastic difference
Yeah.
than before.
All right, someone's asking, what is the most challenging aspect of looking after the Enterprise?
Well,
Sheer size.
it's the sheer size. The importance of this aircraft can't be overstated. This was the first space shuttle. Only 6 were made, only 5 went to space, and only 4 exist now. So to be able to have this artifact to take care of, it's a labor of love, but definitely the size of it is a big, what's the word I want? Not concern, but challenge. So we really, that's probably the worst. The other thing too is if you don't wear a dust mask, which I don't know why you wouldn't, breathing in all this stuff is just gross. So that's not helpful.
Yeah.
As Peter encroaches on what I already did. Did I do a bad job? Is that what's happening here?
Look at that.
As you make more of a
What
mess?
is this?
Huh. You're stepping on my lead. Thank you. Oh my God. Random thought. If anybody ever makes it to Intrepid to see our Enterprise, we also have a T-38, which is a jet that was used as a pilot trainer for the space program. Our astronaut program started back in 1959, and the T-38 also started hand in hand with this project. So it's a very well-known plane. It's still used today as a trainer, and ours is, I don't remember when ours is from, but it goes all the way back to the Mercury program.
So the museum is opening tomorrow, is it, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
We are very excited.
Part of why we're getting everything looking ship shape. No
Part of why
pun
we're
intended.
breathing heavily.
Ship shape.
We're breathing heavily with excitement. Not exertion. It's fine. Yeah, we're all set for guests to come. Everybody has done their part. And it's been a long time since we've gotten to see outside people, and we're very excited to have people back.
And if it makes you feel any better about it, both Kate and I are vaccinated.
We sound like puppies.
Okay, Benedict wants to know, is the paint on the Enterprise original or is it being repainted, or did you repaint it?
Section of it have been repainted if any maintenance needed to be completed. I don't know if Liam, can you swing your camera this way? So this is obviously new paint that was repaired and a newer piece was put there. For the most part, everything else is original. There's even, I wish you guys could see it, there's oil stains up here. There's all kinds of small imperfections that we do our best to keep them going. For example, on the wing, because of how much exposure it would get to lights and to things like that, NASA Enterprise is actually a little bit faded. But because the sides don't really get a lot of that, that's why these are so bold and easy to see.
Even when it arrived here, there was still there was already, I should say, quite a bit of some patchwork here and there, slightly differing hues of paint, where it was clear that either NASA or the Smithsonian had done touch-up work. But for the most part, I can't even guess on a percentage, but probably 85, 90% of the paint that is on here is the original paint.
All right, Peter, so Jennifer on Facebook wants to know, how long will this project take to finish?
The dusting, I think we're done today. Yep.
Yeah.
Ready for reopening.
Ready for reopening.
And then we'll be up here again, like we said, to do a little more invasive wipe down and everything else. But this is ready to roll, which is really nice. So come see us.
All right, guys, that'll be it for the day. You want to sign off?
Sure. So this has been me and Peter here at the Intrepid. We are aircraft restoration, and we're glad that you could join us today while we do some maintenance on our shuttle. We hope that you can come in person. Like Liam has said, we open tomorrow, and we're open Thursdays through Sundays. And if you can't come in person, we hope that you continue to log into our live streams. So thank you.
And we'll be back next week with another fascinating but unnamed task at this time.
We usually don't know what we're doing beforehand, honestly. So thank you.